Hey you guys, I'm so excited. Today I am going to show you how I made this beautiful box over here. It has this flower on the top, and the flower is actually the handle on how you open the box. So it works just like this. You see, that's the lid. That's the inside of the box. Super, super cute. I love it. I am so happy the way it turned out. And I also made another one the other day that you guys loved. And this is all walnut with aromatic cedar flower. And this one ended up really cute too. But then I decided to add some stripes to it. So I made this one, it's out of walnut. And the stripes is 1/8 inch aspen. And the flower for this one, it's from uh, ambrosia maple. So super, super cute. The beads are also wood, and I bought them on Amazon from a craft supply, so I'll put those in the link description below. Again, this is how cute this look. This is the way the lid, the flower looks. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not the easiest box to do. It's not that it's hard, but it just takes a really, really long time, especially to do the flower, each petal and all. But I really like the design. I thought it was really cute. And these two boxes, they are going to be for sale when I start my website. I'm working on doing a website, and hopefully I will have it all set and ready by January sometimes in 2024. And these two boxes will be for sale. Now the pattern that I used to make the box is from this Scroll Saw magazine. If I will find a link to it, I'll put it in the description below. But if you do not find the magazine and you cannot have the pattern, well, the pattern is pretty simple for the box. It looks something like this. So it's just a 12-sided shape, and then it has 1, 2, 3 circles in the middle, something like this. And for the instructions, I'm going to show you. So the box itself, it's these two lines over here. For the box top, it goes this, all the lines from the outer edge to the inner edge. Then the lid goes from the second line from the middle, and then the liner is the smallest circle. So that's kind of the way it goes. And for the petals, this is the pattern for the petals, and as you can see, we have I guess it's this way. We have a large, medium, and small. It's compound cut, so this is the tall part of the block you are going to cut, and you will see that in the video. I'll show you how I cut them. And then you have the profile of the petal. So this is the 3 petals. I'm just showing you the pattern, just in case you can't get your hands on the magazine, then you can make your own pattern. Now here is the block of wood I'm starting with, and I just glued together 1/2 inch walnut with 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood and another 1/2 inch walnut. So this is my block of wood. It's already glued up together, and now it's time to attach the pattern to the block of wood. So that's what I am going to do, so then I can cut it on the scroll saw. I'm going to use blue tape, and then I'm going to use this spray adhesive, and then put some packing tape on top of it, and we'll take it to the scroll saw. So let's do that. Now the blue tape is going to help me peel the pattern afterwards a lot easier, so the glue doesn't stick directly to the wood. And the packing tape helps the pattern not peel from the blue tape, and also it lubricates the blade, so it makes it easier to cut. So let's go to the scroll saw. Now I made an entry hole, and the entry hole, it's right here, so it's just a little bit outside of the line we need to cut, because it's this second line, the one that is marked with A, that is the one we need to cut. I'm not going to cut the outside because I think it's going to be a lot easier for me to cut that on the bandsaw, and I'll do that after I attach the bottom. So right now the only thing we're cutting is this line A. For the blade, I'm using a Pegas number 9 geometry modified blade, and I like these blades because they're the only ones that do not drift, so it makes it easier for me to stay on the line. Now when you cut the pattern, you usually want to stay just a little bit outside the line, and then after you cut it on the spindle sander, we will sand to the line. However, for this particular cut, it doesn't really matter. As you will see later, it will get hidden by another piece that goes on top of it. So this is what we have so far. As you guys saw me, I cut it on the scroll saw. I'm leaving the pattern on because I will need it later after I attach the bottom. And I sand it on the inside. We get nice smooth surface. And now it's time to glue the bottom on. For the bottom, since I use this Baltic birch plywood as a decorative thing, I think it would be nice to do a Baltic birch bottom. Just that way we'll have two stripes coming on. So I have a 1/4 inch Baltic birch plywood here, and I will just glue it to the bottom like this. That will be the inside of our box. So that's what I am going to do now. Now, one thing I will do to help with the clamping, I'll be using some CA glues in the corner, so then when I put pressure with the bottom, it will stay stuck, and I'll still use clamps, but this will help a lot with the clamping. So let's see, CA glue there, 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 and there. Spray some activator on my corners of my plywood. Apply pressure for a few seconds. Now, while the box is drying, we need to work on the top part of the box. And for that, I already taped the pattern here because, I'm trying to make this video not too long. So this is what we need to cut. We cut from the very outer edge over there all the way to the very inner edge. So we will cut this on the scroll saw. And what I did, because this is going to be a box that I'll be selling on my website once I release it in January 2024, I am batch making a few of these boxes. So what I did, I used blue tape and CA glue and stuck together two pieces of 1/2 inch wood. I have walnut and I have aspen. And that way, when I cut this on the scroll saw, I cut two of them at a time, and that will save me time. We will use one of these guys. I'm not sure which one, the walnut or the aspen, but we'll use one of these guys for today's box, and then I'll use the other one for a different box that I'll be making. So first thing I need to do, I already drilled the entry hole over here, but you see when you drill an entry hole, you usually have a little raised knob over there. I'm gonna sand that down so that way it stays completely flat on my scroll saw, and I make sure the blade is exactly at 90 degrees, and we'll go cut this top of the box off. We'll cut both lines this time, not just the inner circle, we'll also cut the outside perimeter. After I took my pieces out of the scroll saw, you saw me pulling them apart, and that was a mistake. I should have left them together. That way when I send it on the spindle sander, they will both send at the same time, and that will save some time. But I didn't think about it, so there it is. I had to send them separately. Now for the actual lid of the box, we need to cut two parts. One that sits on top of the box, and one is the liner, what goes underneath to hold the lid in place. So for the top of the lid, we are going to use the line B. So I'm just going to cut this with where the line B is, which is the second one from the inside, if you can see it. And then the same thing, I use CA glue and blue tape and put two pieces together so I can cut two lids at the same time. And then for the liner of the lid, what I did is I took a 1/2 inch walnut, 1/2 inch, maybe it's a little bit overkill, 1/4 inch will work, 1/8 inch will work. I was afraid I didn't want it to bow or cap, so I chose a thicker material. And what I did is I placed this box top on this piece and I traced it with a white color pencil. So that's gonna give me the exact shape of the inside portion that is gonna be the liner of the box lid. I hope this makes sense. You will see it when we put it all together. It will make sense, I promise. So I'll be cutting the outer part of the lid and then the liner from this guy over here. Now, before I have to glue this piece to my box, I actually have to cut these edges onto the box itself. Remember, we didn't cut the outside perimeter, so we'll cut that. That way we can line this one with those edges and glue it in place. So what I'll be doing next is take my box out of clamps, and then I will cut it on the bandsaw. I'll cut the edges, and then we'll glue this one in place. Now here is what our box looks so far. We have the box with the bottom. Now the problem is I use Baltic birch plywood as a design element. I thought it would be cute with the stripes to give it some sort of interest. But I'm not sure what I want to do for the lid and the flower. And I know I cut the walnut and I thought that would look great with the walnut lid. But then what am I gonna do for the flower? So I think I have to introduce a different color wood, maybe something more colorful, like aromatic cedar or canary wood or yellow heart or something. So because I can't decide what I want to do with this, hold on a second. I have this other box that I started yesterday, and we are at the exact stage. We have the walls of the box and we have the bottom. And for this one, I use a chunk of wood that was made from 1/2 inch walnut and then 1/8 inch aspen. So it has these thin white stripes. So that's what I use for this one. And at this point, I think we will swap the boxes and we'll continue with this one. They're exactly at the same stage, and only the reason that I don't know what I'm going to do with that plywood one. I feel like it needs a third color. But for this one, we'll continue with this one from now on because this one will go great with the walnut, and the flower will make the flower out of the aspen. So then the top and the lid will be walnut and the flower will be aspen to tie it in with the stripes. I hope that makes sense. So what we need to do now is glue the top of the box like this. You see how this comes together? So we will glue this in place, and then while this one is drying, we will work on the lid. So the first thing I will do for the lid is glue the two parts together, the inner lining and the lid, and then we will start working on the flower while this part of the box is drying up. So I'm going to glue this together and I'll see you after. And now it's finally time to work on the lid and make the flower. I know this is what you guys have been waiting for. This is everyone's favorite part. So let's look what we need to make the flower. The pattern comes with, let me just fold it so it doesn't confuse you. So we have 3 leaves. We have 3 petals, I should say, a large, a medium, and a small. Now you see the medium and the large, they have this curvy point. So they're a little bit more special, where the little one is just kind of straightforward. This is a compound cut, so you have one side and then the other side. And you see there's a line down the middle. You need to cut your pattern. Let me find one that I already cut. So you need to cut your pattern like this, and then you fold your paper right on that line. That's how you make compound cuts. So after you fold your pattern on the line, then you will glue it to a block of wood. This is 3/4 inch. In this instance was aromatic cedar. I already made these flowers. So you glue it like this, one side and then the other. And then you will cut this on the scroll side. The first part you will cut is these 2 lines on the height of the block. And to safely be able to cut those without chopping my fingers off, I used one of these Betsy 6-inch clamps. So they open like this. Hold on. Of course, I cannot do it on camera. I'm going the wrong way. So you open them and then you put your block of wood, make sure it's flat on the table, and you close the clamps. And then you would use this when you're cutting it on the scroll saw. That way your hands are not so close to the blade. I guess it will be like this so the pattern is up. So you will guide it with this. You will see in the clip I will insert, because I already cut all the petals, so we cut on times. So I use this clamp. I'll put it in the description below. This is a Betsy and a 6-inch wood screw clamp. That's what we're looking for. I will put it in the description below. And we cut this part first, then we'll tape it back together so it stays together, and then we'll cut this part. And then when you are done cutting those, then you end up with petals like this on the inside. So I'm gonna insert that clip, and then I will show you how we shape the petals, because we have to sand them. Also, I forgot to mention the wood I use for the flower is this ambrosia maple. And I had this, it was like some scrap pieces that I had left over from another project, so I figured it would be perfect for this box. Now, after you cut your petals, they would look something like this. So you see very sharp corners, not the best looking. So we'll need to sand it. I'll be using the same drum sander I showed you before to kind of just smoothly sand it, and then I'll hand sand the edges to round them over and just make everything feel nice. Now for the beads that go inside of the flower, like in the very center, I bought these wooden beads on Amazon. And I like them because they're the perfect size and they do not have a hole in the middle, like, for making bracelets and so on. And they're tiny ones like this. And what I did is I stained them, and to stain them, I used this trans color tone liquid stain and vintage amber. So I used a little bit of denatured alcohol with a few drops of this, dumped my beads inside, and then, pretty much immediately pulled them right out. And then they became, I'll show you the color because I have some that I already stained. So they became this yellowish tone. So my beads are already done, but that's what I used. I'll put the link in the description below. And that's how I stained them to get them that yellow tone. I really wanted to stay with wood. I didn't want to use plastic because the whole box is nice and it's wood. So I figured wooden beads it is. Now all my petals are ready to be, glued to the lid. And before I do that, what I would like to do is take some mineral spirits and wipe every single one of these petals, and I let them dry because I want to make sure they are dust free. That way the glue really stick to them, and we are successful on gluing this to the lid. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wipe them with mineral spirits, and then I will let them dry. And then while these petals are drying, I'm gonna take the box. I think it had enough time for the glue to settle, and I am going to sand all the edges onto my spindle sander. So as you can see, having a spindle sander, it's super helpful. I bought mine on Amazon for like $200, so it's definitely worth the money. It's not the best spindle sander, but I've been using it every day and I had no issues with it so far. It does the job. Now, how many petals you need? You need 5 of each. So that's what I have. I have 5 of each. I suggest when you cut them, cut 6 of each, because sometimes when you shape them and sand them, they might break. So I'm just gonna wipe them, make sure they're dust free. All right, you guys, off camera, I did sanded all the sides to make it nice and smooth, and it's wet because I just rubbed it with mineral spirits to, clean up the dust, and also that way we'll reveal if we have any kind of glue spots that we missed. You will see it when you put the mineral spirits. So the box is ready for finish. The lid, I did the same thing, wiped it with mineral spirits, and now it's dry, and the petals are ready to be glued on. Now, what I need to do is first I need to put a finish on every single petal and the lid and the box. And because we'll be using a poly, this is the finish I'll be using. It's a gel poly. And if you guys been following me for a while, you know I love my oil finishes. But the problem with oil finishes is after 6 months, a year, it starts to look dull and you have to reapply it. Because this box is going to be for sale, I want to make it so it lasts for a long time. Probably the person that will buy it is not a woodworker, so they don't want to keep reapplying a finish. They want to buy something that is going to look nice for years to come. So I'm going with poly. This is a gel poly. Let me just open this. It's a gel poly. It's very thick. It looks like this. It dries really quickly, so I'm going to scoop some out and put on a scrap of wood so I can keep using it. And you wipe it on basically, let it sit for 1 minute and then wipe it off. Now because I'm using poly and glue don't go well together, the glue will not stick to the poly. So what I need to do is take some blue tape and mark, like mask in the middle of the lid where the petals are going to get glued on. So I'm gonna mask that with the blue tape, and then also every single petal I am going to use the blue tape and mask the part that is gonna get glue, which is the inner edge. And then I'm gonna put finish on the other side. So I'm gonna go do that, and first I'm gonna put the blue tape, and then I'm going to put on the poly so I can finish all the pieces, and then we will glue it on. I have my awesome blue tape dispenser here, and we'll start with the lid. That's too big. Maybe smaller, like this. Something like that. Maybe I'll add just a little bit more on this side. All right, so that part, it's not going to get finished. And then the petals, they get tape as well. So let's see. Just using a t-shirt, white t-shirt material, and like I said, rub it on. And with a clean rag, wipe it off. All right, we are ready to glue the petals. This is super, super exciting. I'm gonna get the wet wipe ready just in case I need to wipe something. And we'll use a combination of wood glue. I have Tide Bound 3 and then CA glue. So we'll use both of them. First, I have to pick my large petals. So I need to have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are my large petals. Then it will be the middle petals, 5 right there, and then the tiny ones, 2, 4, 5. I'm going to take the blue tape off. I marked in here where my center is, so these guys are gonna go something like this. 5 of them go all around. I will start let's see. I'll put a dab of CA glue right on the very tip. And then I'll put wood glue. I need a spreader. Let me go get something. Oh, I'll use this to move the wood glue around. I do not want to have any squeeze out because I won't be able to get in there and clean it. So I have to be very careful. We'll put some activator in there. And then let's see, there goes the first one. One petal is in. Now because I'm using a little bit of CA glue just on the very tip, that's gonna keep it in place, kind of like a clamp. Because there's no way I'm clamping this, there's no way to do it. And then the wood glue, I'll just move it around in there. So that is our first row of petals. Now we're moving to the middle size. Now make sure you put your glue on the corners that have no finish. So we'll do this again, just like last time. First I'll put a little bit of CA glue, of CA accelerator right there. And then we'll use some CA glue on the very tip. And some wood glue. And just like that, our second row, it's all done. Moving to the little ones. All right, here's what it looks like so far. It's looking great. I like it. Now it's time to work with the beads. And I have to pick through my bag and pick the ones that I already stained. Put that one right in the center. All right, I'm gonna let those dry for a little bit and then we'll come back with the finish and, finish the beads and the parts that are exposed that we have raw wood. Now here is our box. And the way this will work, the lid was going to sit like that. Now looking at it closely, it looks like maybe, I'm not sure if my flower is completely centered. I feel like maybe I'm just a little bit off center. So, I guess I have to be more careful when I do that. I hope the person that buys it doesn't get too upset if the flower it's not completely center. If anybody buys it. I guess we'll find out. So, all right. Those things are solid, they're not moving. So now I am going to take some more of this finish and I'm gonna put a very thin layer on the exposed parts of the flower. So let's see, I don't want to take too much because then I have to wipe it off. Everything is looking great. And then, ta-da! How cute is that? I like it. I think it's really nice. Now, like I said, it's not the fastest box. It does take a really long time, especially the petals, cutting them. But it is all worth it. It looks really, really cute. I love the way it looks.